Hello everyone, and welcome back to learning the fundamentals of the Trigify platform. Today we're going to be going over how to build out a basic workflow start to finish. So to get started, we want to head to the workflow section, which you can see here, and it's just below listening. It's important to mention that workflows are powered by social listening searches, so you must go ahead and set up a social listening search prior to building a workflow. And if you haven't already, you can watch my previous video that I've done on this around setting up a social listening search. So today we're going to go ahead and create a simple sentiment analysis agent. The issue with sentiment analysis from most social listening tools is they're looking at the sentiment of the entire post, but not the entity or the keyword or the topic that you care about that is wedged inside of a post. So what does that mean? Well, let's take Trigify for example. Maybe the entire post is about how social listening tools have failed the market, but specifically Trigify inside of that has been mentioned very positively that it's solving that challenge. Now, in most tools, it would be seen as a negative sentiment, but we're going to build an agent or an agentic workflow today that gets it seen as a positive. So in the workflow sections, you've got two different tabs. You've got templates, which is where myself and the team have pre-built loads and loads and loads of different agents. So you just need to go ahead to there, select a template, and then you can kind of get started with one click. But we're going to build a new one today. I'm going to call this sentiment agent, and we're going to create this. So first of all, we need to pick from the triggers. We're going to pick new post. And I'm going to use a LinkedIn search that I've got running on Trigify specifically. So you can see here the trigger node, which is this specific one. That's the very first node. Gives you a little bit of insight into the search query that you have up and running. So what I want to do next is I want to go ahead and I want to add, so you can use this little plus icon or you can hit here, a sentiment agent. And I'm going to say, is Trigify mentioned positively? Be handy if I could spell. There we go. Within this social post. I don't care if the post is negative. It's more how is my company, Trigify, mentioned. Now, what's really important is that I go ahead and add the post text here. So I'm going to hit /, and then you can hit drop down or you can search for it. So I could do post text, or I hit the drop down and I can have a look at all the different options coming through from the previous node. So here I want to select post text, and then I have three different options with the output format: text, number, or Boolean. Here I'm just going to select Boolean, which is going to give me a true or false if it's been mentioned positively or negatively. So you can move the canvas around. I'm just going to move it a little bit up here, and then I'm going to add another node as the next step. For clarity, nodes are basically all of the different options that you have on the left-hand side. So now that we know that this agent is going to go ahead and it's going to run some sentiment analysis. Is this post mentioned positively or negatively? Yes or no? Because there are two options, I need to go ahead and add an if condition here. An if condition basically is where it's going to say, okay, yes, this is true or this is false. So what we need to do is we need to set that up. So I'm going to go ahead and then click on the variable, and I'm going to click on the sentiment agent and its output. And if it equals true, I'm going to hit save. So what that means is if this post is seen as positively, it's going to go down this way. If it's seen as negatively, it's going to go down this way. From there, I then can go ahead and set up the next action or the next step if the post is seen as positively, where maybe I want to configure a signal here. And this is going to be a positive, I'm going to call the signal positive brand mention. And this is really great because you can go ahead and set up any custom signals that you would want based on whatever your agents are looking at. And then you can actually use, when a signal is created, that is also a trigger. So that could, in theory, trigger another workflow if you wanted that to happen. So the description is, I'm actually just going to say like post text, and I'm going to add the text from the post. So I'm going to cite post text into here. Severity is low from a signal. Maybe I'm going to give it a little love heart. And this is like signal category is marketing. So there we go. So now what we have is if the post comes in, we have an agent analyzing it. If it's positive, we create a signal. And if it's negative, we should also create another signal. And we're going to call this negative signal. So it's important to mention that you can actually edit the name of the different nodes that you're setting up so you remember what you're doing. Here we're going to say this is a negative post signal. And the description is, I'm going to do the same as what we had previously, which is post text. And then I'm going to go here, type in the post text. This is high, and it's also marketing again. Then I'm actually going to build another step off the back of this. And here, what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to send a Slack message to the Trigify general Slack channel. And maybe I'll say, Trigify has been mentioned in a negative way. Here is the URL. Let's do URL. Go ahead and triage this. Now, if I wanted and we wanted to make this a little bit more of an advanced automation, I might add maybe another agent into the mix to like help me create a triage response and things like that. But so far, this looks pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and test the flow. Now, what I will do is I will hit save as well. So I'm just going to confirm that and save that. We've got two different options to test. We've got test up here, and we also have our shortcuts, which are down here. So this allows us to go kind of back, redo, things like that. Allow us to fit to view so we can see the entire automation. And then we can also test it. So here we can test, you can pick from any of the searches. So rather than running on all 10 posts that we currently have inside of our sources, it's specifically picking from this particular one here, where it's linked to. And I'm going to hit test flow. Which leads us to then the next section, which is what we call logs. Logs basically is showing us any historical runs, a run being what we're doing now, that has been executed. What's quite nice here is you can see that it flashes blue when the actual node is running, and then green once the node has completed its step. So in this case, everything's happened, it's completed, and we're all good. I have two options now to go ahead and view things. I can either click on view step output, or I can actually click on the node itself, and I can see that the signal has been created. So if I go back to here, I can see you've got two options. I can see through basic view or JSON view. The Boolean was true, which is why it's gone ahead and created that signal. And then I can actually see in my right-hand side here, associated to this workflow, this is the signal that was created. This is the post text that was contained within there. Category marketing created here, which is really cool. So then I can see all of the signals that I've been creating off the back of the social data. And that's a very quick step through on how we create a workflow start to finish.